Hello my friends, it's Danny, and today I am sharing an updated version of my black bean brownies made with oat flour and topped with a rich and decadent chocolate icing. Now this is a great way to level up a traditional brownie recipe because my black bean brownies are free of all refined flours and sugars. They're naturally gluten-free, 100% plant-based, and you get an extra dose of fiber from all of those beans. But don't worry, nobody's gonna even know that they're in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to grease an 8x8 baking dish, and I'm going to do this with a little bit of coconut oil. You could also do this with a butter or some cooking spray. We just want to make sure that the brownies don't stick to the pan. Then into a nice big bowl, I'm combining 3/4 of a cup of oat flour. Now remember, all oat flour is ground up oats. So if you can't find it at the grocery store, you can simply put some oats in your food processor and grind them up until you have a nice fine flour. Then I have a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to gently toss this all together. Just get these dry ingredients well combined, and then we're gonna set that aside. Then for my black beans, I like to break them down in the blender. So the first thing I do is drain and rinse one 15-ounce can of black beans. And then I'm gonna transfer them into a high-speed blender. And to that, I am adding 3/4 of a cup of water, 3/4 of a cup of a real maple syrup, and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. I'll pop on my lid, and then I'm just gonna blend that up until the beans are broken down and everything is well combined. And you're gonna notice that this is a very liquidy mixture. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So once it's all blended, I'm gonna take this bean mixture and add it to our dry ingredients. And then we'll gently fold that together and then just stir and mix until you have a nice rich brownie batter like I have here. Now from here, we're ready for our stir-ins. So I am adding a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, and be mindful of the type of chocolate chips that you buy. If you want to keep this recipe 100% plant-based, make sure to choose a chocolate chip that is in alignment with that. You can also choose chocolate chips that are lower in sugar or made with monk fruit if you want to pull back on the sugars. So as always, pick whichever one aligns with your own personal goals. And then, this is completely optional, but I love a chopped up walnut in my brownies. So I have 1/3 cup of chopped up walnuts. This is gonna add a really great flavor and texture to the brownie. But again, optional. So if you're not a nut in your brownie kind of person, you could skip that step. Once I have the chocolate chips and the walnuts folded into the brownie batter, I'm just going to gently transfer the batter into my prepared pan. Just get it all in there, make sure it's nice and even, and this is gonna go into my oven for 30 to 35 minutes or until it is set through and the kitchen is nice and fragrant. Remember, anytime you are baking, as soon as your kitchen starts to smell delicious and kind of like you want to take a bite out of the air, that's how you know that whatever is in the oven is just about done. Now, while my brownies cool, I like to make a maple sweetened chocolate icing because this is like a triple threat brownie. We have 3 layers of chocolate, and this icing is so easy to make. You just want to grab a small bowl, and into that goes a 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder or cacao powder. Cocoa powder and cacao powder are interchangeable in all recipes. The only difference is that cacao powder is not heated. So it's slightly less processed than cocoa powder, but it's also a little bit more bitter. So you decide. Then I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you're just gonna get in there and mix this all together, and it's gonna create this very, very rich, fudgy, decadent chocolate icing. Now, once the brownies have cooled to room temperature, you don't want them to be hot when you spread the icing on because that's gonna make a hot mess. So once they've cooled to room temperature, you're just gonna spread your icing right over the top of the pan and just try to get it on there as evenly as possible. Now, technically, you could cut into the brownies now, but I prefer this recipe chilled. I find they also set up better when you cut them cold, and I actually enjoy the flavor of them even more when they're cold. So I'm gonna pop these in the fridge for a few hours, and then I'm gonna cut them into small squares and enjoy. This is such a rich, fudgy, decadent brownie, and I promise you, nobody is ever gonna know that there is the black bean inside of their brownie. They are so good. Now, if you enjoy easy, healthy recipes just like this, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a new recipe. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dani Spies, and I'll see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers.